We can get in different colors, yellow, orange, and red. This kind of places we can get some communities over on the hills and the mountains where they have a very nice project also to recover some of those potatoes growing in the Inca's time. We call native potatoes. So it's possible to get in all this valley. And the interesting thing is when we're talking about potatoes, according with some people gonna say in the Inca's time they probably need over 4 or 5,000 different kinds of potatoes. Right now, according with the agriculture minister, they say they have the record. They calculate approximately in Peru we have almost 3,800 different types of potatoes growing right now. The people cultivate this. So in this kind of valleys we can get also hundreds of different kinds of potatoes. For the Incas was very important the potatoes because it's gonna be one of those products who they're gonna preserve for many years. They're gonna make the process to dry the potato and preserve it in this kind of places. Those are not common houses. We call food storage or colcas. In the Quechua language, it's gonna be called colcas. It's here where they're gonna preserve potatoes and corn and different kinds of stuff for long periods. Why is important to preserve the food? Is because they know in some seasons or some years they have very bad periods where it's gonna be long dry seasons or long rainy seasons. That's why it's very important the preservation of the food to support the bad period. Enemies and also it's gonna be safe to support the bad weathers or also the natural disasters. That's why they're gonna be located over there. But along the way we can see amazing buildings called terraces. Those terraces are gonna be a farming places where the Incas they're gonna use it for the agriculture, but at the same time are walls who support the erosion of the mountain. What happens if those terraces don't be there or the Incas never building this? Probably the buildings we haven't taught will be fell down. Remember, is this area in the Andes where in the rainy season rain a lot and the main disaster will be landslides and earthquakes. So the walls support the erosion of the mountain. And why is it important to support the highest part? It's because it's there the urban sector and also it's gonna be located some altars and temples, right? So that's why it's very important make walls who gonna support the erosion of the mountain. Mostly of this kind of places where building of the Incas started building in the valley, close to the river. They made terraces by terraces, one by one, to finish on the top. This is one of those places where the Incas finished the work. We are building temples, houses for the storage, terraces, and also in PISAQ is considered one of those places where we be located. One of the biggest cemeteries, Inca cemeteries, is gonna be there in that direction, in that mountain. After we're gonna go there. So, and also the terraces will be a farming areas, but not common farming places. It's gonna be a places where the Incas they're gonna try to acclimatize and domesticate some plants. Why? Because the temperature on the bottom of the terraces are in the bottom, where the terraces are here, it's gonna be different. And also, according with the archaeologists, when they are made excavations and they are try to make the difference between the terraces on the top and the bottom, they find different kinds of soil. Soil brought for the Incas probably from the valleys because it's more fertile, and they put it here to get a good weather and good soil to acclimatize specific plants. All right, that's why also it's interesting why we have different kinds of plants like potatoes, for example. What is the different planting potatoes in the valleys with the potatoes are in the hills and the mountains? It's gonna be the size. Potatoes are smaller, are more dry, but those kind of potatoes is gonna be better to preserve for long periods. This kind of potatoes is the only place where we're gonna get it's gonna be in the altitude, over 3,000 meters or 4,000 meters. But the potatoes, bigger potatoes, will be growing in the valleys where are biggest size and have more water. This kind of potatoes gonna be using for another things, but unfortunately are not good to preserve in good conditions. That's why the Incas try to acclimatize and domesticate and get different seeds of plants. And also not just potatoes, corn, quinoa. You know quinoa, right? Quinoa, kiwicha, and caniwa. Probably the main cereals they're gonna get in that time. Very healthy food. That's why also the Incas were very strong. So very strong, very smart. They are eating very healthy food, all right? And we know very well what this means. The building's gonna be here because there's gonna be a food storage because the winds coming from that area are coming from this place. So most of the time it's gonna be very ventilated. It's colder compared to another buildings are over there where it's gonna be warmer. So the Incas know where is gonna be a good place to preserve the food will be here in this area specifically. All right. So very important for the Incas the preservation of the food. Take pictures. All the buildings, Inca buildings, have a big or very strong relation with the gods too. But the Inca's tradition, they're gonna embark, or they're gonna be embarked, of course, in fetal position. So if we are made in fetal position, it's gonna be very small, right? And yesterday we saw how was the process of mummification. When this person is going to be ready for birth, it's going to be buried here on the mountain. Why on the cliff of the mountain? Because it's going to be safe because we have some wild animals, and also for the animals it's going to be hard to go in there and destroy the Inca tombs. But also it's going to be important to be in the mountain because it's a representation of the Mother Earth. In the Inca philosophy, when someone passes away, going to die, this person is going to another world, in another dimension, but need to going back to the Mother Earth. On the same way we come into this world in fetal position. So in the Inca mentality, they have a philosophy of reincarnation, but in another world. Okay, very important. Well. And the other thing about, another detail about this Inca cemetery, the Inca tombs and the mummies will be looking where? East, where the sun coming up. So looking the sun all the time. All the Inca mummies were found in fetal position and looking the sun, where the sun coming up. It's a start a new life. In front of the cemetery, we have another buildings here where is also the fountains of the water. Yesterday we saw the fountains of the water means start a new life, right? It's the first element of the life, but we have close to the cemetery too. So for the Incas, they don't have that mentality to say if someone dies, it's the end of the world. No, it's just a trip. It's just a process to another world. Yeah. So they're gonna make some rituals also of purification, probably in honor to the light and honor to the dead. Water element of the life.
Yeah.
Probably they start in the year 1200 after Christ, where they start to expand it, but it's gonna be over of the year 1400, 1435 approximately, where was the best king of the Incas controlling all this area called PISAQ, when he made also a difference. He started to rebuilding the old Inca towns and made a better architecture. But one of the most important is gonna be a strategic place. So he started to make the big buildings around, or the big wall with the bigger rocks around this place. So what does mean? It's gonna be like fortress.
Yeah.
You know, a place where the Incas they're gonna refueling and protecting of the enemies. The Incas have enemies. They fighting almost all the time because we have a lot of people who don't be agreed to be part of the Inca Empire. So in that time they fighting for the land. So they need to protect in this place. And also you can see we have a big wall around this area where gonna be located the urban sector and the religious part. So we have the main entrance. So no everyone's can be possible to throw or pass it before to checking someone, you know,
Yeah.
was controlling very strict. So right now also that happened. We have the checkpoints around this kind of Inca site. But in the Inca's time was very similar too. It was very important who's coming to here, who's going out also. It's gonna be a friend or enemy, you know.